Just a boy from East Tennessee. Just got God, my family, and me. Work my fingers down to the bone. Is the way I was raised and the way I was shown. Southern life is a life for me. It's the way I'll always be. Southern life is a life for me. It's the way I'll always be.
Great. Alright guys, welcome to episode number 1 of the podcast. A lot of you guys showed a lot of interest in us doing one of these, and I've kind of wanted to do one for a while. I've always had interest in it. I listen to a lot of podcasts, whether it be at work, driving down the road, just whatever the case may be. But this is episode number 1. I was really shocked at how many of y'all wanted us to do one of these. And so yeah, here's episode number 1. Don't really even have a name for it yet. Got a few names rolling around my mind. Maybe like the Southern Podcast, the Southern Cast, something like that. So guys, go in the comments real quick. Let us know what you think a good podcast name would be. We might let you guys decide what to call it. But this is episode number 1, and I'm here with my co-host, I guess you'd say, for the first episode. And so you all know who this is.
Pops.
You need an introduction?
No.
No introduction. So there's been a lot of youngins asking where he's been. I know the boys have posted a couple of videos on their channel, and saying how he's under the weather and stuff. So we're going to kind of go and just kind of talk about what's going on, and just giving us the whole scoop on what's going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and apologize. This is kind of a last minute setup. We're kind of working on ideas of where to film this at, where it's kind of quiet and the audio will be good. But this is kind of a trial run, so just bear with us, and we'll hop into this. So, when's the first? Pretty much the first thing. Well, let's go ahead and say this first. What's going on for the ones that maybe don't know or haven't really kept up with the whole thing?
I've got a hernia. I'm gonna have to go see a surgeon Tuesday to see what to do for it. It started last Friday. I started hurting in my groin, trying hard to walk, and it just got worse. And went to my family doctor, and she ran a bunch of tests, blood work, and X-rays, and ended up going to the ER, hurting real bad. Tuesday night, I guess it was, about 10 o'clock. We went down there, and they couldn't find nothing, sent me back home, thought I just strained something, and then they ended up calling back and say what kind of test was that, a CT scan? Said it didn't show nothing, but then the radiologist looked at the X-ray, and he seen a tear and a hernia. So that's where we stand. We're just having to take it easy. We're doing light work, just driving a few loads in, trying to make a payday this week. So we got that done today, but it's still real sore. And like where I'm sitting now, it's not bothering me none, but sometimes I get a bind, it just really hurts. And of course I took a little pain medicine for the relief of that pain a little bit a while ago, so that helps too. But anyway, it just, I don't even know when I hurt myself. It wasn't something, it just hit me, and there's a problem. It just started gradually getting sore, so.
Kind of snuck up on you a little bit?
Yeah, snake attack.
So when's the first day you kind of noticed it started hurting? Because I know last Sunday at church, it's kind of hampering you a little bit as you was walking around. I know you said, and that's been a week ago now, because this is Saturday night or Friday night that we're filming this episode, so that's been about a week ago.
Friday I noticed a little bit of tenderness, but I just thought it nothing out of the ordinary. You do a lot of straining and pulling in the logwoods, so I don't know. I just gradually got worse. Sunday wasn't unbearable, but it was discomfort.
That's like Mom told me. She said that the doctor asked you, or she asked you if you had done any heavy lifting, wasn't it? It was the doctor, was you said that. Mom, you asked him if he had done any heavy lifting. His doctor asked him, and he said no.
Our doctor asked you that?
They all I asked you that, but
She asked and he said no, and I said, well, I mean, when you log, and that's about all you do is pick up heavy stuff all day. At least you poke the chainsaw around, but and for the ones that don't know, best I understand, the hernia is whenever you tear the liner of your stomach. Have I got that right? The line of
I
your
don't
stomach.
really know.
Some of your guts kind of come out just a little bit of that line in your stomach. So, if I understand it right, I might be wrong, I don't know. But they got to put that back up in there and put that liner back together to keep it from doing that. So yeah, well, you're seeing the specialist Tuesday, which is tonight's Friday night. So maybe he'll. Hopefully they do something about it soon, because that's a long time to wait on something serious like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure all you guys know that the health field right now is crazy. I mean, through the virus and all that stuff going around, it's been just. I reckon from people I've heard, it's been hard for people to get in any work with some stuff, just because the virus has had just all the attention on it. It's been hard for people to get other stuff that is actually probably a little bit more serious than the virus. Guys, going from that, so that's what's going on. For you that didn't know, for you guys that are new, that's what's going on. Some of you might not have known that he was even under the weather, but a lot of you guys have been commenting, asking what was going on. So instead of replying to each and every single one of you on my channel and some of the boys' channel, that's what's been going on. So now we're going to get into a few other things, kind of transferring from that subject to a few other things. We just want to kind of talk about logging a little bit. That's what are you, like, probably like a third generation logger, fourth?
Yeah, at least the third. My grandpa done it. He was in the timber and sawmill. My dad done it. And he passed it on down to his kids. My brother's in it. He's got a operation, and then we're a little smaller scale than him, but yeah, it's been 3 generations, I know. But just gets in your blood, and I guess you get it passed down that way. You just know it's something you know to do, and it's easy to fall back on, not get out of you. Well, maybe say your comfort zone, but when you know something, have a little bit of idea how to do it, sometimes it's easy just to keep doing it, rather than get out and spread your wings and go other areas, I guess.
Yeah.
I went into the railroads for 3 months, I guess, down in Marietta, Georgia, and I was a brakeman on a small off line. CSX was the main line that ran through there, I think, and we just was a small out line that just distributed cars to the locals there in Marietta and on up to Tate, Georgia, and I forget all the little towns up through there. But I was making about as much at home than I was at out on the road, and I was staying in a depot down there. They was letting me stay. The guy that hired me on, and
what does a depot consist of? Just a bed and
there's just a room in there. Him and his son had a bed, and I had one. I had a shower and a restroom in it.
So you had roommates pretty much, Alvins and
yeah, we was
little area.
Of course, they worked night shift, and I worked the day shift, and so that broke us up. We wasn't always there together, but yeah, I liked the work. It's just away from home. I didn't want to move down there. I didn't like the leaving at 12 o'clock on Sunday night, get down there Monday morning, go to work, and all day I was miserable. But so I decided to come home. I'd making as much at home as I was down there, bringing home down there. Of course, I had good insurance and everything down there, so I had to lose that, but I gained the comfort of being at home, place I know and raised, so I enjoyed that better. Probably in the long run, if I'd stuck with it, I'd probably had a retirement and all that good stuff. But in life, I guess you sacrifice to gain other things. Sometimes you're willing to give up this to achieve that, but it ain't always maybe the best in the sense of money. But
Well, I just go show you
happiness
that money
means
and
something.
everything.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of these people that's famous, I don't understand how these people that's all this fame and got all this money commit suicide, and people that are millionaires at one point, have depression and go bankrupt and all that. Just goes to show you they don't. Money isn't the answer to everything. It's just something else that can be used the wrong way, or it's just something that's not purely fulfilling. It's just something that can be used for bad or good. But with that being said, guys, of how he's a third generation logger, how it's been, my grandpa was a logger, his dad was a logger. We're going to talk about a little bit of how logging has changed over the years. So we're going to go to a break real quick and get a word from our sponsor for this video, Yoder Brands Beef Jerky. So let's get a word from our sponsor and we'll be right back.
One thing Landon didn't mention is I'm third generation, but he also was a third generation logger. What time he logged? Fourth.
I guess I'd be fourth, wouldn't I?
Yeah, fourth, I guess. So I'm not only on my side, but Donna's family was in the logging too. I don't know about your great grandpa, what he done, but I know your great grandpa or your grandpa was sawmill logging.
What was his name? Paul's dad, Ezra. Ezra. Then you got Paul, which I mentioned in my last video about getting my grandpa on the podcast, and all of you guys said that you guys would really enjoy that. So we're kind of talking to him. We think he'll be okay doing it. I really hope he is, because if you can ever get him talking, I mean, it's just, I can sit and just listen to him talk all day long. It's something else. But we've got one grandpa still here with us. My grandpa on dad's side, he's went on to be with the Lord. Miss him all the time. Spent a lot of Sunday mornings over there before church, because whenever we used to live in the house we lived in before we moved here to this house, was less than you've heard people say, is a stone's throw away or a rock's throw away. Well, this was maybe half of the rock's throw away. I mean, you could have launched it over the house. That's how close we was. And I'd go over there on Sunday mornings, or all the time really, but that Sunday morning stick in my mind, because I'd go over there and he'd fix us some eggs and some toast or whatever, and we'd eat there before church started, and I'd ride with him there sometimes. But Pa Buck, he was a logger too. He had a sawmill. He knows. He worked in a rubber plant. He worked in a place where they made golf clubs. I mean, he's got stories to do, probably 10 episodes. So if we can get him on here, I think you guys will really enjoy him being on here. So just bear with us, and bear with us in this process. I've never tried to do a podcast before. I've made videos where I can edit everything out, and this is just raw footage, so you guys are seeing all the mess ups. I had to get me some coffee here, and the wife, or the cup says wifey on it, so I'm going to hold it like this, that way you can't see that while I'm drinking it. Mm-hmm. So if I hold it left-handed, you can see it, so I'll just hold it right-handed. But before we got off the break, we was talking about how Dad's grandpa logged, his great-grandpa logged, and so we're going to talk a little bit about how logging's changed over the years. You've had everybody thinks that in the old days they used mules to skid their logs with, and but there's a lot of other ways it's changed too. Like you had the saws, where you get one fella on one side of the saw with a handle, another guy on the other side of the saw with a handle with a blade in between, and they just work that saw back and forth. And I wonder how long it took to cut a tree down that way. About how many minutes do you think it'd take?
I don't know. I've heard people say they was faster than you might think, but I don't know. I guess it's according to how big your trees was. And back in them days, they had big timber. I've heard people say in the past that they piled up when back before the market got good and everything. Lumber market was good around here, that they piled them up and burned logs that we today better than we got today. So I don't know, but
That's hard to believe, man.
But they just wasn't a lot of market around here close, I guess, and you had to haul it. I guess the transportation wasn't real available at that time, but
How'd they haul them back in the day? Just put them on the river, or
I'm sure they got them to the railway, or I know logs. I've heard of them floating them in places down the river. I don't know about actually right here where we're at about them doing a lot of that. They may have, but
no river's really close to do it on, is they?
But I'd say a lot of it got put on rail cars, and I've heard them talk about hauling it out on a horse and wagon. A lot of things have changed. My grandpa and my dad even, we used mules a little bit, but when Daddy and my grandpa and dad logged, they had mules mostly, and they had a pair. I know if I can remember the names. Kit and Bale was the name of the mules. They always talked about Kit and Bale, how good of mules they was. But then we went to Super C tractor. From mules, I guess we went to tractors, and we used a Super C tractor with a tricycle front end, which everybody said they was real dangerous about turning over, and they was a little more dangerous, but they was a lot more convenient than some of the wide front ends, because you could stick the front end of the tractor fit a lot in close places, turning around and everything, and it was real good on the woods. It didn't tire. You didn't have to have a wide road hardly, or turn around thing. So we went from there to a Timberjack skidder. First skidder we ever owned was a 225 Timberjack with a Detroit in it. I can remember the first day we brought it home, took it to the woods over there. Dad was scared to death because we'd never been on one, and we'd pull sideways a little bit to the skidder, and he'd try to flip the back end up off the ground, and he'd think we was going to turn it over, and he was scared, and he was about ready to take it back. But once he got used to using it, he wouldn't have traded it in for nothing. He liked that old 225.
Want to bring the mules back?
Yeah, the tractor back. So every time you take a step in life, these are the things you got to learn, and you just have to grow and everything. That's what I was saying. Sometimes it's easy to convert back to what's comfortable. And but we went from a small skidder to bigger skidders, and we've had a grapple skidder. Grapple, I guess that's what I should say. But a lot of the work now, when Daddy they logged with mules, they'd roll them up skid poles. They'd put a mule on the other side of the truck and run a chain up under the log and tie it to the truck bed, and they'd let that mule pull that chain, and it'd roll them logs right up that skid poles. So that was a lot of work, but then I can remember the first front end loader we ever had on anything that I remember was on an H tractor, and it was didn't have no power steering, and it was a tricycle front end, but we loaded all kinds of logs with it. You just had to be careful, and I can't remember for sure, but I'd say it got turned over somewhere along the way, maybe.
That front end loader just changed the game, didn't it?
Yeah, that was better than rolling them up poles, but it was compared to now with big cat loaders and John Deere's and 4-wheel drives, and
knuckle boom.
Instead of loading one every time, you'd load 4 if you wanted to. That was a big game changer as production, I guess you'd say. Yeah. But things have changed. There's knuckle boom now and tree cutters, and I was told though that they wasn't. People thinks all the work's been taken out of logging, but I guess in the mechanical part of it, where you got track cutters and grapple skidders and knuckle booms and buck saws, all that, there's probably less strenuous work in that, and maybe a little safer. But if you log more of the old hands-on approach, where you cut it with a chainsaw and you hook chokers to it and have to pull the choker over the hill and then walk back out, there's still a lot of work, and then you cut it up with a chainsaw on the yard and limb it with a chainsaw. There's a lot of work still today. And then some people still use horses. I like to watch some of them on YouTube where they still log with horses. But yeah, just a lot of advances been made.
Well, there's some kind of contraption I've seen where it's a tree cutter, It goes in there, it grabs a tree at the base, cuts it, brings it down. Then, as it brings the tree through this circular part, it takes the limbs off, and then I guess it's set for, if you want a 8-foot log or 12-foot log, it brings it through. As it breaks the limbs off, then it cuts the log right there, and it brings it through to length, and it just whacks it up. So you've cut the tree down, you've cut it into whatever size log you want. It's de-limbed it and everything, and then but there's very few people, I'm sure, percentage-wise, actually has that kind of machinery that's logging today.
I think they call them a processor, a processing head. Yeah, I'm sure they're handy. I think some of them around here, not too far away, has got maybe one or two of them.
I wonder how much them thing would run a feller. You can buy one brand new. I hate to know.
I think
Can
I
you
heard
look
them
that up? What a tree processor would run brand new?
I'd say $600,000-$700,000.
Good grief. See, I mean, think how much timber you'd have to. Where's your thumb? You grab your thumb for you. I mean, you just think about how much timber you'd have to run to pay for one of them things. I mean, that's
one of the things about timber, and I was thinking about it the other day. There's a couple of ways to approach making money timbering. A lot of people, or several people around here, they do it on volume more so than on how much they get. Like I don't know what you call it, profitability off the timber.
Like quantity over quality.
Yeah, a lot of people, like where I sort mine out and try to get the most dollars out of everything I can. Sometimes a bigger operation will take less and let it go faster, just send it on down the road in Waywood. But they do it on a high volume output, where me and them two boys, and even when you was helping, we wasn't on volume because we couldn't do a whole lot of volume, so we had to make up the money somewhere else. So by slowing down and getting the best grade or the best price out of everything, there's a couple of ways of looking at that, And you don't go through your timber hardly as fast as a small operation, but if it's what is it? They call it the bottom line.
Yeah.
What you end up with at the end of the day is, I guess, what it's all about anyway. But
here's a 2014 model, and it's $249,500.
So 2014 tree processor is going to run you about $250,000. That's one a 7-year-old, so I'd guarantee a brand new would be $500, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
or you can pay monthly payments for $4,192.
Or for a small monthly payment of $4,000, you can make payments on it for 5 years.
875 years.
Huh?
875 years.
Oh yeah, for your entire lifetime. So you can pass that down to your kids. Why not though? I mean, America, we go into $1.9 trillion of debt every other year, so I don't know why we're even worried about debt anymore. But that's just the country for you, though.
We can't run our business like they run the country, though.
That's
but anyway, it's the more debt you take on, I mean, you hear people say, I got to put out 20, 30, 40, 50 loads a week just to break even. I mean, that's pressure right there. I mean, just to break even. I mean, and you go through so much timber just to break even. But those folks that do that provide jobs. I mean, you got to look at it like that. If they didn't take that risk and try to, I'm sure if everything works well, they make good money. But if
somebody's got to.
But if you're creating jobs for other people, that's a noble task,
Yeah.
But when things are going bad with a lot of debt and a lot of demand on you just to break even, it makes you want to pull your hair out at times.
Yeah, I can't imagine being the boss of an operation like that where you got to gross however many thousand a week or every 2 weeks or whatever. And that's whenever I can kind of understand whenever they got these guys that just show up, just halfway do stuff all the time, when they're making as much money as some guy that's doing twice the work, at a given job. Why bosses are always in a bad mood sometimes, because they got a lot of stress on them. But we're going to segue from that, guys, and go into the go into a different little segment here, and we're going to talk about the biggest scares we've ever had while we've been logging, working, just whatever. We've had a few from time to time, and I don't want to make this first episode too awful long, because hopefully I can get this out to you guys tomorrow morning for a Saturday special. I think I'll post these podcasts probably on Saturday morning. So if that sounds like a good plan to you guys, let me know. Probably Saturday mornings at about 10 o'clock in the morning, maybe 9 o'clock. That way, if you guys don't work on Saturday, unlike me, you guys can wake up and listen to the podcast while you're drinking your coffee or eating breakfast or whatever the case may be. But so let's go with our biggest scares in the woods. I know I've had a few. Probably the one that sticks out to me the most is this big toe over here. Which one was it? Which toe was that I got cut off, Mom? Remember that?
That one, I think.
Which one's that one?
The one you're touching.
I've got a scar. Yeah, right there's a scar. Yeah, so I was I don't guess you'd really call it about cut my toe off. It's a little bit higher than my toe, but we was over there actually logging on Dad's property over here, and a lot of this timber on his side over here we kind of cleared it as we went. So a lot of times he'd take the skidder, or not the skidder, but the dozer, the old Komatsu over there, and push the trees over, stumping on, and then I'd come behind him sometimes, and I'd cut the stump off from the tree, and then hook the skidder to it, and I'd skid him to wherever we was going, or whatever the log yard was at that time. And I was cutting a stump off a tree one day, and it kind of kicked funny, and it stuck that saw right down in my boot. And that day, or pretty much the whole time I was helping them log, I wore muck boots. And if I'd had steel toes on, it probably wouldn't have happened, but I had on muck boots that day. And it shoved the snout of that saw right down in my boot, and it just it didn't really do it like a cutting motion. It just jabbed it right in there. And as soon as it hit my foot, I knew it cut me. I could feel the bottom of my boot get wet, and it kind of numbed it all of a sudden, and I couldn't feel my foot really, so I just took off running to the truck. And what year's that GMC of Pause? About a 90 something, man. 92, 91.
Somewhere in there, I can't remember.
It's some early 90s GMC truck, and I felt like the Dukes of Hazzard driving over through there. I mean, I was flying, because I just knowed I'd cut my toe off, about cut my foot off. I couldn't tell because it jabbed it so hard, it was numb. So I was flying, and you see me driving, didn't you? Didn't you see me going across through there? I thought you was disking or something in the field over there, or plowing or something.
I think I was gone, wasn't I?
I thought you was over there.
I don't remember. I barely do remember. That's that year you.
We was about to go to the beach.
Yeah.
But I thought you said something like, I knew when I seen him going through there, he had got hurt or something like that.
I may have. I can't remember.
So anyway, I come over here flying to the house. I'm walking to the porch. I think Mom come walking out because she seen me flying around through there, and I was about to pass out. I mean, I was taking it. I just know my toe was off because my boot was soaking wet. I knew there was blood all in there. I felt like my toe had been cut off, and I was walking. I was about to pass out. The boys come outside. Of course, they was little at that time. What year was that? Was that 18 or 17?
About 16.
16. It was 16 or 17. One, I can't remember exactly. So the boys were. Isaac would have been 8.
Connor was 6.
So Isaac would have been 8 years old at that time. Connor would have been 6, and they were crying. They were bawling their eyes out. They thought I had about to die or something, I guess. And Mom was saying, "Oh gosh, oh gosh." So she pulled my boot off, and I'm talking blood come out of that boot. My whole sock was just soaked in red. And she said, "I'm gonna pull it off." And I was so nervous for her to pull my sock off. But she pulled it off, and the toe was still there. I just had a big gash in my foot, and it was deep, wasn't it? I mean, it was a very, very deep cut. So I can't remember exactly what we done from there on, but I went to the doctor. She ended up she glued it, didn't she?
I taped it.
Or you taped it? Well, I remember you taped it. You and Lacey both did, because remember how tight she taped that? And it ripped every hair on my toe, my foot off whenever we took that tape off. I mean, I had that that waterproof tape. That stuff right there, that's a different kind of tape, that waterproof tape. It'll rip the hair follicle, and everything out whenever you take that stuff off. That's probably one of my biggest scares. I've got one more, but I'll let you go ahead and do one if you want to. I know you've probably had plenty over the years.
Yeah.
There's one I've heard a lot. I hope you tell it. I've heard it a few times. It involves a skidder, and you wouldn't drive.
I guess the scariest thing, get my foot hung in the choker rope while I hooked a tree up, and told my brother to start pulling the tree. I seen a limb was getting hung up in it, and for some reason I thought I needed to get that out of the way, and I stepped inside the choker rope, and it pulled my foot over against the tree, and they was dragging me up the hill. And he had turned his head around for a minute, and I couldn't get him to stop. So, yeah, that was a little scary, wondering if I was if he was going to stop. But
now,
you just can't never be too safe. Best you can do, you can get hurt. But I just, for some reason, thought I'd get in there and throw that stick out of the way, and it really didn't matter even being in there. But sometimes you do things that'll get you hurt. You got to think all the time.
Did it hurt your foot when it pulled it over? I mean, did it?
Yeah, it hurt. It pulled it in again between the tree and the rope. It had it mashed in again the tree. Went right across the top of my foot somehow. And
because them chokers, when you
it didn't get inside the choker, it got inside the rope. When it tightened up again.
Okay.
No, it didn't. If it had gotten inside the choker, I'd have probably lost my foot.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
It pulled the rope up against the tree, the pressure, and it grabbed my foot and put it in between the rope and the tree, and that was the scariest. I knowed I'd get my foot ripped off before he stopped, but he looked back around, Daddy hollered, and he released it, and then I turned my foot loose, so I took off to the truck, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So.
You said Paul was throwing a fit, but didn't you? He
was excited. I guess you see your kid.
I would have been too.
Getting dragged up the hill with a skidder, it ain't no fun for sure. But that was just my fault. I for some reason I thought I needed to move that stick, and I done told him to go, and he went. So you can't blame him. It was my fault, but yeah, I guess that was the scariest thing I ever had happen.
Yeah. I guess probably my second one. Well, I've actually got two. I could tell just right off my head, but probably the number one or the second one I got in mind was we had a little dozer. We was working on another feller's timber over here close to where we live at, and we was what was we doing? We was pulling the skidder up the hill with the dozer, wasn't we? Because it was steep.
The skidder wouldn't climb the hill. The skidder would spin out, so we put the dozer in front of the skidder and pulled it up that little steep part, and then I'd go on to the landing with the trees with the skidder while you went back and got ready again.
Yeah.
But we just had changed fuel filters on that dozer, and I don't know if the water shorted out or what on the dozer, but anyway, it caught on fire, and then all that fuel where we changed filters had run down in the belly pan on a dozer. Anybody got a dozer knows how that is. If you don't keep them cleaned out good, they can catch on fire and burn. So
what size dozer is that?
It's a D3.
D3 dozer.
So I hooked up the next pull and got ready and winched the trees up, and we'd hooked up the dozer and the skidder back together and looked around, and there's smoke coming out from around Landon's legs, and he jumped off, and we tried to throw enough dirt in there to put it out, but we never could, and it finally just got so big we had to leave it. And it was so far away you couldn't get. The fire department wouldn't ever be able to get down in there, so we just had to sit on the bank and watch it burn.
Pretty bad day, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a little bit trying when you watch a dozer go up in smoke. Insurance would have been handy that day, wouldn't it? Fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
You can never be too prepared. Now I'm bad to be what they call them people, procrastinator.
All the things you think about after it's done too late.
Yeah.
Plus there was a lot of leaves in there, and grease and
Yeah.
all that good stuff. It just
Old dead leaves will work their way down in the belly pan. I mean, once you get that on fire, they wasn't no stopping it hardly without some good stuff to fight the fire with.
But that was definitely, I mean, that thing could just blowed up, I mean, just, very fortunate to have walked away from that one. I think I was driving in reverse whenever the smoke started coming, so by the time it got started, I was looking behind me. I believe I remember it right. And it was starting to smoke, and luckily he got my attention. I got off there and we threw all kinds of dirt in there and just thought for a minute we about had it put out, but it caught that grease and leaves and all that stuff, and we just nothing about it. But that's one that sticks out to me too. And we might do this segment again some other time. You have another one you want to talk about, or you want to go on?
Wow, that's fine.
Okay.
I ain't got one just jumping out at me.
All right.
There's danger every day you go in the woods. I mean, you just have to deal with it. You'll never take all the danger out of it. Best just be prepared. But what I tell the boys is, you've got to think. And sometimes you lose your train of thought. Get to thinking about going fishing or doing something out of work, or get off in la la land, so to speak. And that's when you get hurt, when you quit thinking, and it's easy to do.
Well, it's like in ag. They told us in ag class, I said the highest percentage of accidents in farm-related or just any kind of agricultural work is being tarred, I guess what you call it, or the word I'm thinking of is fatigue is the number one cause, because either you get tarred or you just get off in la la land, you ain't thinking about it, and you just do something stupid, just something 9 times out of 10 you wouldn't do it, but just that one time, you just, for whatever reason, you decide to do it. And
I think for me, it's been more getting comfortable. You think you've done it so long, you think you just get comfortable. That's when you get in trouble, when you get comfortable and you start not paying attention like you ought to, and it's just something you got to stay on guard all the time.
Yeah.
I know with a chainsaw, if you ain't careful, you'll not keep your legs where they need to be, and you'll get them too close. You'll just get in a hurry.
I've cut many pair of breeches just right here, because you cutting up, take this off to kind of rest it, because if you hold it out here away from your body all the time, well, that's a shoulder workout right there, ain't it?
Yeah.
If you can rest it on your leg a little bit, it helps out not having to keep it up here all the time. And I've many times, especially if you've got one that the chain spins a little bit whenever you ain't got that idle, and you get that on your leg. I've cut blue jeans, I've cut my leg in this area probably 2 or 3 times, just trying to rest it on my leg just a little bit, not off the chain, but just sitting the saw, the bottom of the saw, just right there for a second, getting that chain into your leg. We had one saw one time, it'd spin while it idled, and that was
the clutch wasn't kicking out.
Yeah.
It was just making the chain turn. I forget what causes that. A spring in the clutch breaks or something. I can't remember. But
yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of danger, that's for sure.
Guys, we're going to wrap it up right here, and we're going to talk about the most challenging parts of logging, most challenging aspects. Right off the bat, weather.
Weather's a big part.
Probably number 1, I would say, wouldn't you?
I don't know if it's number 1, but it's a big part.
Conditions,
breakdown is what I deal with.
Breakdowns.
It's a close race between breakdowns and weather, I guess. It's according to breakdowns seem like they come in waves sometimes. I was watching a video today of a logging YouTube, and that guy had 3 different pieces of equipment go down the same day, and then the third piece blowed a hose. He got it out. He was using a little while and blowed a hydraulic hose and had to go work on the third piece of equipment. His loader, I guess it was. I believe he had a Komatsu loader loading with, and then he had to go get a backhoe, and then he used it for a little while, and the backhoe blowed a line out, so there it. But breakdowns is a challenging thing I deal with. I mean, outside the weather, you can't control the weather, or I guess breakdowns as far as controlling it, I don't think you can control it, but you can sort of
Preventative maintenance.
preventive maintenance helps out. I mean, I'm sure you can alleviate some of it by taking care of your equipment. So
The thing about breakdowns is you miss the work you would have got done by fixing it, spend the time fixing it, plus you got to go buy the stuff to fix it with. That just kind of gets you double dose right there. At least with weather, you ain't breaking nothing and you had to work on it or go buy parts for it.
one thing gets me is where you take on a lot of debt. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier in the video. Or if you take on a lot of debt and get big and a lot of equipment, then I mean, like you having to put out so many loads to break even. Well, sometimes you let maintenance go because you got to be working, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. But if you don't prepare for the hardships on the equipment, anything moving parts is gonna wear out something eventually. Greasing it regular, I'm bad not to grease it. One reason I hate greasing, getting it all over me. And them Alamites are greasing. They don't take grease half the time, seem like, and I just hate that job. But it does prevent the wear on moving parts.
Especially
So I'd say weather and the breakdowns.
Yeah.
Then I guess the third would be the market. Market up and down can be a obstacle.
What's something that's always kind of the people that have nothing to do with the industry a lot of times control what the people who are in the industry make off the product. You know what I'm saying? Like someone over in China or wherever the stuff is sent to, the wood is sent to, there's some kind of like catastrophe, or a lot of times something political always affects what the product in a certain industry is worth. And that's what's so aggravating a lot of times with the market. Just like when our new president, got put in office, the wood prices on like wood packages for houses skyrocketed, I reckon, which is a good thing for loggers, because that makes the price of wood go up, and all that stuff. But I reckon right now, from what I've heard people talk about, like if you want to build a house, the wood package on the house has went up a lot in the last little bit. So if it's going to cost you $70,000 to build a house now, or $100,000, it's costing like $140,000 or $200,000 now, because it's been, the price of this stuff's went up so much, which is good for the one selling the product, not so good for the one buying the product. There's always got to be a winner and a loser, no matter what you got. But I don't know, that's just something that's always kind of really surprised me, how something so far away can affect something close to home. A lot of times, that's just crazy to me.
Well, it's more of a global market now than what it used to be. It ain't just American. What going on in America don't affect everything like it used to. It's a global thing. Good or bad, that's just the way it is. But supply and demand, like the lockdowns and everything has affected a lot of the places that create the products, and they probably got low inventory, so the demand's there. So what do, they just they drive the prices up. But that's somebody's doing well over it. I mean, either way, it seems like it's hard on the lower end.
That's one thing about monopolies I don't like. When you maybe get these monopolies in certain industries, just like Rockefeller with oil back in the day, he was buying all these smaller oil industries, and then whenever he got all the control over the oil industry, jacked the price up to whatever he wanted to. And that's just like the thing where you got like companies like Walmart and Target and all these are putting these mom and pop stores out of business because they can they get all of the shoppers, all of the the traffic. They get all of it, and then they can control whatever the prices are and stuff. Probably Walmart ain't the best example of that, but just like logging industry, like people get all the control, start getting into all the business, they can pretty much control whatever the price they want to. It's like gas and oil and all that good stuff. Like you got your main ones.
Competition helps. Competition's good in a sense where it ain't so one-sided, where they can't just lay the law down, so to speak, and set the standard, But
it's like a gas station that's out in the middle of nowhere, They ain't got no more gas stations around it. Their prices will always be a little bit higher than one in the middle of town. There's 5 in a little half a mile radius, They've got to be kind of competitive, or, if you see a gas price for $3 right here, and you look right down the road and it's for $2.75, pretty much, unless you're crazy, you go to the one that's $2.75, unless you just got a reason to go to the one for $3. But competition is definitely a good thing in America. That's why capitalism has always done so good here. Everybody's wanting to bring this socialist stuff in here, but competition and just the need for people to compete for hires, for more. Think about socialism. I mean, everybody works. Doesn't matter how hard you work, you get the same as somebody else. But whenever you got capitalism, you can make whatever out of yourself you want to. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's performance based is what capitalism is. So, but socialism is like you go out there and raise 100 cows and take care of them, and you got one guy over here that didn't do nothing. You got to split your 50 with him, then you get 50. But any more challenges you want to talk about, or have the challenges pretty much wrapped up?
Yeah, the cost of stuff like skidder tires and chainsaws and all the things. I mean, that's something that affects logging pretty heavy, is the cost of fuel and tires for your truck, and just the cost of materials to like a chainsaw file anymore. It's amazing what a little old chainsaw file will cost you. I mean, compared to what it used to.
Yeah.
But chainsaw change is probably double what they was when I started.
What's the lowest you ever remember gas paying?
I can remember it being that little bit under $1.
Under $1?
Maybe down around 80, can't we?
I can remember 79, 89 cents.
Yeah, 70 to 80 cents there somewhere. I mean,
Wow.
that was when we was just little. But
I don't think I can.
I don't remember what year it started going up, and then I hope we don't see the highest we've ever seen, but it may go that way.
I wouldn't bet on. Well, what's the highest we've seen? It got around 4, doesn't it?
I think it's around $4 there at one time.
There during the
I can't remember exactly.
Is that the beginning of Obama? The end of Obama? The beginning,
I can't
guess.
remember when it was, but I know that can be a big challenge for logging, though, and that's a big challenge for anything farming.
Truck drivers, I mean,
But
on the road all the time.
yeah, there's just a lot of challenges and a lot of safety issues. You need to be safe and a lot of opportunity to get hurt. But you'll never take that plumb out of it. I mean, it comes down to people just being safe.
Yeah.
And it's a good life. It's a hard life, but it's a good life. It's an honest living. I like that part about it. I mean, you earn what you get. And it has got a little easier over the years of earning it, so that's a good thing. But some of the old ways, if you ain't got a lot of debt, you can still do it. I mean, I watch them log with mules on YouTube or horses, and I'm sure they do pretty good because their overhead ain't as much as but it's a little more slower pace, and
Lord.
but some people just like fooling with it that way, and I don't blame them if that's something you enjoy to do it. If I had a good horse and a mule, I mean, if I didn't have no debt, I could. I mean, just
Go as fast as you
I
want to.
could do it if I had to. I mean, I don't mind cutting trees with a chainsaw. People talk about need to get you a track cutter, but I mean that's fine. They're out there and people can do that if they want to. I'm not opposed to that, but I'm not again logging with a chainsaw. I'm still cutting trees with chainsaws, but it is hard on your body, and that may be what I'm dealing with now with this hernia, jerking and pulling on chainsaws and chokers and
Yeah.
So you gotta weigh all of it into the equation. But as far as me, I'm doing very well. I'll probably be a little recovery time through this. I don't know, possibly a month. I don't know. So I read one place, sometimes they say up to 4 weeks out of the surgery. So if I have surgery, they ain't definitely said I had to have it, but a good possibility I'll have to have a little surgery and go from there. So I appreciate everybody's concern, and prayers is definitely an important part of our life, and I appreciate people praying and being concerned. That's one thing with this YouTube stuff and everything. That's the support and concern that people showed toward us. This sort of been a little bit shocking there. You know, I know people care about people. I ain't saying that, but I mean, I just seemed like we was over here in the middle of nowhere, and and just by YouTube or technology, we're able to. Where all they responded from? Australia,
all over the country, all over the world, really.
Yeah.
That's the thing about the media is, I mean, if you watch mainstream media, it's all bad. It's all negative. It's people, they just try to divide us. But I feel like this is, you know, the unheard voice of the people like us. We're all over the place. We're just not very connected because we don't really hear from each other much, because there's not really a place for us to talk. You know, like people watching these videos and stuff, they can actually get their voice out there a little bit. But if you watch just mainstream media and stuff like that, you won't hear no support like this. So that's one thing I really like about the whole YouTube thing, is you can hear people that's just like you, not these millionaire news corporations that just pick and choose what they want you to know and what they want you to see. That's what's something crazy about the news. They can affect your whole mood, but just what they put out there. You know what I'm saying? They can write their own narrative and push whatever they want to, and that's one thing I can't stand about the news. But like you said, we really appreciate all the prayers. You just don't know how much it means. It means a lot. And I know you have been praying for the whole family, and that means a lot too. But just keep us in your prayers, and we'll keep you in ours. And I hope this first podcast wasn't too bad. Just like I said, I ain't got a clue what I'm doing. We'll learn as we go. We've just got the camera set up on a little bit of a light here, and we're sitting in the living room. So maybe we can get something rigged up here in the next couple of weeks, and we can start doing some more podcasts. I've got a few people that said they'd be interested in coming on. But again, just drop you suggestions for the name in the comments. I'm open for suggestions for the name, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of these podcasts as they come out. For time being, I'm going to keep posting them right here on the main YouTube channel. I've actually got a secondary channel I could post these on, but I'd like to just post them on the main channels, have all my videos in one place so you guys can find them. And so anything you want to add to any of that? Or
No, just thanks for tuning in.
Always appreciate it.
Hope you enjoy it. Maybe he'll get somebody not so bored.
Yeah, I think it's a good first podcast. But
I'd rather it be real. This is, like I say, the living room and things, but I just enjoy the realness of people's lives more than just like if it's entertainment.
All the fake stuff.
Yeah, I just like reality, real stuff. I mean, we edit and we don't put everything in, I'm sure, but I just like to see real, you know. Reality
TV really ain't reality TV. A lot of times it's all scripted, and I promise you this, which you guys probably don't have to hear it from me to know, we didn't script these lines. We wouldn't know. We'd have memorized them anyway. You guys can probably tell we didn't write this out, but I don't want to drag it on any farther, guys. It's probably over an hour. If it is, I'm sorry. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But this will be called the Saturday Special, so I hope you enjoy these podcasts coming out. And drop a big like, comment on the video, watch the whole thing. It's on the end, so I guess it's dead if he's watching this. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. Keep God number one. And life's too short, so you might as well laugh today. And we'll see you guys next time.